What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so shout out to Dreamers Pro. All right, I think he's still live now. I see his live stream talking about this breaking news story. It regards Tracy McGrady rolling back some statements that he made last week that some people were offended by. Okay, now it started. I think it was an episode of. It might have been an episode of NBA Countdown, or was it? It might have been the last game of the NBA Finals. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know it was Stephen A. Smith, Malika Andrews. I think Richard Jefferson was there. Kendrick Perkins might have been there, and I think Gilbert Arenas and Tracy McGrady. And they started talking about Kobe Bryant, and I can't remember the exact specific conversation, but Tracy McGrady made the statement that if you put him on those Lakers teams in the early 2000s, that the Lakers would have still three-peated, which means essentially that he's saying that, he and Kobe were interchangeable. And, the reason why a lot of Kobe fans were put off by that is that, yes, it is true that 20 years ago or so, maybe a little bit more than 20 years ago, there was a comparison between Tracy McGrady and Kobe Bryant. I remember that. That's legitimate. Okay? Kobe Bryant, as great as he was, and he was being compared to Michael Jordan at that point in time, but it was more of, okay, is Kobe as good as Michael Jordan at these particular stages, similar stages at those points in their careers? Not whether or not he was better than Michael Jordan overall, legacy-wise, accomplishments-wise. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Tracy McGrady. Tracy McGrady at least had the excuse that he was on a very bad Orlando Magic team. So this was a snapshot in time. That would change as their careers progressed. Tracy McGrady went to Houston, and he still failed to get out of the first round. Yes, some of it was injuries to himself and teammates, in particular Yao Ming. But in some of those playoff games, many of them, Tracy McGrady played poorly. Back injuries, whatever. The case is, he did not get out of the first round. And I'm sorry, that by itself negates a comparison to Kobe Bryant, considering that without Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant won a fourth and fifth championship, and he went 3 consecutive seasons going to the NBA Finals in a very, very loaded Western Conference at that time. I remember one of those years, the AC won damn near 50 games, if not 50 games. So he definitely earned those Michael Jordan comparisons. But anyway, here's Tracy McGrady apologizing for his earlier remarks, which a lot of Kobe fans were ticked off about.
Bro, everybody know Kobe's my man, bro.
Yeah.
Kobe's my brother, bro. There's no way in hell I would ever disrespect my brother like that. Yes, it came out as me replacing. I never said I was better than Kobe. Never, and I would never say that. I'm on the front line. Of advocating for my brother. I think by the second or third championship, Kobe's probably the best player in the game, other than Shaq. I mean, perimeter player.
Yeah.
But Shaq and Tim Duncan, you could put them up there. I'm saying perimeter player. Bean is probably the best perimeter player in our game.
And that's what was being said at the time. Yes, there were some comparisons to Tracy McGrady. Yes, by 2008, 2009, 2010, there were some comparisons with Kobe and Dwayne Wade. But that was it. Comparisons. See, this is more of a problem with the media, in my opinion. See, they have a really bad habit, which needs to be corrected, of disrespecting players of the past to prop him up, prop LeBron James. See, his resume alone is not enough. That's how you know he's not the GOAT. He can't, or his sycophants, they can't just use what he's accomplished. That's not enough to elevate him to a consensus GOAT status amongst fans of basketball or the NBA. They have to have a measured, cold, calculating campaign against superstars to tear down them and to bring LeBron James up. Now, their campaign against Michael Jordan has failed for the most part. So what they're trying to salvage now is to have LeBron at least be in this conversation, because Kobe is rising more and more, and they can't stand it. And there's something Dreams Pro said that's very true. A lot of people in the media like their asses kissed. See, if you kiss their ass, they'll give you cover. See, they liked LeBron James. They like LeBron James because, especially those people in the media that matter, he kisses their ass. And as we all can figure out, many people in the media are being compensated financially to say certain things about him. Kobe Bryant, on the other hand, was a brilliant brother, spoke articulately, spoke several languages, didn't fit the usual profile of a young black man in America. Often, came across a certain way, which they don't like. I just put it like that. The same way that they don't like a brother like Jaylen Brown. And you'll get bad publicity. If you're an uppity nigger, yeah, I said it. If you're an uppity nigger, they don't like you. That's why they didn't like Barry Bonds. They've kept Barry Bonds out of the Hall of Fame off of suspicion. But David Ortiz, who's busted twice, I think, dirty, is in the Hall of Fame. Suspicion looms around LeBron James. No mention of you-know-what. Even though he's been accused twice on a public platform by a former MMA fighter who has nothing to lose by incriminating himself, while at the same time casting severe critical doubt on LeBron James as far as him being clean. And see, another mistake that the media made, and I said them talking about people, talking about past players and turn them down. See, you could get away with that with Wilt Chamberlain because most of his fan base has died out. They can get away with that. They can get away with disrespecting Kareem because a lot of his fan base have died off, or they're not really in tune with social media. I'm a huge Wilt fan, and there's some other Wilt fans out there, but we're only scattered about. But see, the Kobe fan base is still very much alive and very strong, and they push back on this one, and they push back hard. And let me say this too before I end this video. Kobe fans, Jordan fans, this ain't 2014. This ain't 2012. This not 2010. Whether or not you think Kobe is in the GOAT conversation, if you're a Jordan fan, that doesn't matter at this point. That's not the common enemy. The common enemy are the LeBron fans, those wretched ones, the media, Clutch. They're the enemy. Don't fall for the banana and tailpipe with some of these bots trying to bait you into dissing Kobe and draw us off of the scent from them and off of the goal of nipping this in the bud. I'm not a huge. I was not a huge Kobe fan. I'm a Michael Jordan fan and Wilt Chamberlain fan all the way. But I'm not going to sit over here and lie. I know what I saw. Kobe Bryant is the closest thing I've ever seen to Michael Jordan. Period. He's the closest thing I've ever seen. So if he's the closest thing we've ever seen to Michael Jordan, how in the hell is he not in the GOAT debate? It makes no sense. Some people say, well, how can he be in the GOAT debate if you're saying he's just the closest thing we've seen to Michael Jordan? Well, LeBron isn't. LeBron's nowhere near Michael Jordan. And if it's about numbers, then why is Wilt not in the GOAT conversation? Why is Kareem not in the GOAT conversation if it's about numbers and records? But anyway, Tracy McGrady, is good to see him apologize. Although I still remember him saying, when they brought up him blowing the 3-1 lead, well, Kobe blowing a 3-1 lead, So he still, at this point, I get it. He still has pride. You know what I'm saying? He sees people say he's not a Hall of Famer. He still has some pride. I don't get mad at him for saying that, but it's the way that he said it. And anything, I blame Gilbert more than anybody because Gilbert was gassing him on to a great extent up there. But anyway, that's all I got to say about him. Tell me what you guys think.